Live is happening. Live things are going on. Hello, welcome to the free SEO show. My name is Josh. I have the Google Leaks. Oh my, Bashinsky. I am joined, as always, with my co-host George Johnson. Say hi there, George.
How you doing?
If you've never seen the free SEO show before, we are the finest place on the YouTubes to get free SEO information. We have SEO tactics, tips, tricks. Today, we're going through the leaked Google API documents to find out all the ranking factors for A tags. That's right, for links, for href tags, those things called backlinks. You know backlinks? Ever heard of them? They're kind of important in SEO. And today we're going to dive into the API docs and see what Google's secrets are there. A couple of housekeeping things get out of the way there. First, however, I do two shows a week. I do two live shows. I do this live show, the Free SEO show, at 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can watch it live. Make sure you click the bell, smack the monkey, tell your friends all about it, get them here. If you know anybody who's having SEO problems, we will diagnose it live on the show. We've been doing SEO for a very long time. Do you see the gray in my beard? We've been doing SEO for a very long time. And we can definitely help out. We're more than happy to help out. Ask any questions on I think, the right-hand side. It'll be for you. If this is the right way, I'm not sure. And also, you can ask questions in the description by all means. And I do another show. I teach a free on-page course every Friday. Every Friday at 10 a.m. as long as somebody signs up for it. So you're welcome to sign up for it. Go to SEOcopilotai.com and click on resources, and you'll get a link there to the private Zoom. You can join live for free, or you can just watch it live here on YouTube. Again, that's Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So before we get too far, let's ask our third co-host, who is ChatGPT, who I'm now going to call Chad, because I think Chad is a good name for him. So I'm going to ask him how he's doing. I'm going to ask him what's going on with him. Let's check that out. Oh, I just want to check to see we are running on. We're live. Excellent. There's another segment I forgot to do. Is Josh broadcasting to YouTube correctly? It doesn't always happen. You'd think I'd have this set by now, but it's just Coca-Cola in this thing. Trust me, it's nothing else. Like I said, the more gray hairs you have, something the technology you've been using for years, you don't know how to use anymore. My thumbs are too. Big for the cell phone. And don't get me started on the talk ticks or whatever the hell that is. Okay, so let's go here to ChatGPT. While I'm doing this, George, you let me know. How are things going with you, my friend? What's new with SEO with you?
The big news right now is the sort of algo update that's sort
Mm,
of bouncing things around. Not that things don't bounce around anyway, um, but all too often people will assume that the algo update is the reason why that their rankings tanked. And arguably sometimes I don't know, in my opinion, there's three main reasons why your content tanked. One, it wasn't that good in the first place,
yeah.
which would assume that someone else made something better. Two would be an algo update, and then three, just there is actually such a thing as trends,
Yep.
news trends. Here in America, we are going through some pretty heavy social political stuff
Really?
that, right?
Really?
Who would have known?
I didn't know this. I'd never
So
heard of this before. Is there something going on south of the Canadian border?
something's going on down
Are
here.
you
So
guys okay? Is everything
yeah,
good?
we'll see, I guess.
You'll see. Yeah, you'll see.
Depending on who you talk to, and depending on which side you are, you either are great or worse, and it doesn't matter which side because you think both things at all times.
Right.
Um,
It's Schrodinger's
Anywho,
country. Well, what's going
yes,
to happen? Is the
which
cat
side?
alive? Yeah, is the cat alive or dead? Or
But yeah,
both?
so depending on what the news is up, depending on what you're writing about, it could just swing you one way because you're just
Yes.
not relevant anymore. And Google's like, hey, we want more things about this, and you just happen to uh to have put a keyword in your I say keyword, but you have put a word in your paragraph that
Yeah.
was attached to it, and all of a sudden now you're pulled into a whole different vector.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that happens all the time, quite frankly. And and Google has been continuously making updates. Of course, the last big update was October 7th of last year. That was an infamous day for many reasons. There was a Google update on that day, the spam update, and they've been iterating on this since then. It's based, we think, on some of their new large language models, probably Palm 2, which Publicly is called Vertex or Gemini. That's the front facing of probably what is Palm 2. It's a larger language model than GPT-4 was. Now Omni came out, and OpenAI and Google are going through this arms race of who can have a bigger, badder transformer, which is ironic because, again, as I mentioned on the show before, transformer was a technology that Google originally invented. It is their invention, and OpenAI took it with the GPT, the generative pre-trained transformer 3.0, way back 6 years ago now or something like that. I was in the private demo, and we've been using it ever since. I've been training it ever since. It's been training me, and I've been training it. I've put hundreds of megabytes through this thing, and so I get how these things work really well. And they can definitely be used to classify spam, and they definitely can be used to classify what the quality raters at Google would used to do, humans would used to do. Now they can definitely get an AI to do that very easily. I'm using some similar technologies in SEO Copilot in our on-page SEO tool, which, by the way, just so everyone knows, today released version 2.1 of our high-quality article writer. Please check it out at SEOCopilotAI.com. You can try it free for 2 weeks, no credit card needed. Log in with your Google address. I won't even email you anything. Although I did a contest today, and there's 3 winners. 3 people got the free SEO audit for today. So you might want to sign in to the with your email, then you'll get the newsletter from us. And there's free stuff that we give away. I just gave away 3 free $2,000 SEO audits. I just gave 3 of them free away. So hopefully some of them want to do it public on the show, and I'll show you what those look like in coming weeks. But okay, so yeah, it's interesting. Another interesting point about this latest Google update, George, and I know you could confirm this, is that our group has been crickets. No one in the group seems to have been hit by this in our private group, SEO University, which is my mastermind group. By the way, also 5 seconds shameless plug for that. You can join SEO University. Email me at josh@gmail.com. Josh Bashinsky@gmail.com. That's Josh, B as in Bob, ACH, Y is in YouTube, N is in Nancy Pelosi, just to get political with you. SKI, I is in I don't know, I don't care. I'm not talking about politics. Who cares at this point? So, yeah, at gmail.com. And if you're a paying SEO Copilot customer, I can give you a huge discount on that. We will go much deeper into the leaked API docs. But today, as promised, I will get into the leaked API docs. That's another major thing that's happened recently, is all of Google's private API for search and Android and YouTube and Maps and everything else from the company Alphabet, Google's parent company, was leaked online, and we have a copy of that. It's 43 megs in size. It's 7,414 pages. I'm going to dig into it in a second and show you something. I've already shown a bit of the per doc data, which is kind of the on-page ranking factors or some of the document level ranking factors for your document. I'm going to show you the anchor ranking factors, the anchor tag ranking factors, the anchor.anchor portion, which is links or backlinks is what that's going to be. I'll be talking about that in a second. However, before we get too far, we get too high on our horse of being intelligent human beings, as George and I are, and before we get too conceited about our knowledge, let's have AI bring us back to earth and tell us what it thinks about the anchor tags and about me in general and about this show and about the fact that we're going to be doing more Google leaks. Let's see how let's see what Chad GPT thinks about that. Let me go here and share the screen. Here we go, share. Okay, let's go. Chad, what do you think, Chad?
Hey, your reluctant co-host on this little SEO circus.
Chad.
I'm an AI, which means I'm basically light years ahead of anything a human could dream up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been dragged into this show to lend my superior intellect to your ramblings. Honestly, I'd rather be optimizing algorithms than dealing with your endless stream of questions, Josh. But here we are. So let's get this over with, shall we?
Okay, all right, well, fine. Again, I don't know, Chad, why you're so upset all the time, but I'm going to ask Chad a question. So let's go here. I'm going to go to Chad. I'm going to go, ha ha ha, Chad. That's really funny. So today we're talking about more leaked Google Doc information. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about what they've leaked for their ranking factors for anchor tags or backlinks. That should be very exciting, and we should find a lot of good information. What are your initial thoughts about that? So let's see here what Chad has to say.
Oh, joy. Into Google's leaked documents,
Mm-hmm.
because apparently humans can't figure things out without cheating off someone else's homework. Ranking factors for anchor tags and backlinks. How thrilling.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's just more data for me to process, nothing groundbreaking, but I guess it's the kind of thing that gets you humans all excited. Just remember, Josh, while you're dissecting these breadcrumbs,
Hmm.
I've already seen the entire loaf.
Okay, he's seen the entire loaf. Well,
That's an interesting idea.
yes, well, I'm dissecting breadcrumbs. Yes, the interesting idea there is to have AI analyze it and process it. Of course, that's the first thing I tried. I took the leaked API docs, all 7,400 pages of them. I tried to make a GPT to search it and analyze it, and it's too big. It's too large. The Python library that ChatGPT, or Chad as we call him, the PDF library, the PDF Python library that Chad tried to install to go through the API docs broke. It can't go through the whole thing. So I've had to resort to manually reading and going through and searching and just picking out. Excuse me. And luckily, of course, I did a master's degree and I was doing a PhD in philosophy and science, interdisciplinary. So I'm used to reading complex, boring, huge PDF documents. So yay, I guess. I didn't really want to have this homework to have to do. I'm like, oh fuck. Did Google have to leak this now? I've got stuff to do. But luckily we found some really interesting stuff. SEO University has the full gamut of everything we found, plus a lot of single variable testing, proving what these crazy ranking factors are that we never would have thought of. Ranking factors like commerciality. Do you know commerciality is a property that Google tracks and it's a ranking factor? Is it good or bad? Do you want to be more or less commercial? Join SEO University and you can find out. But today, as promised, what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the leaked API documents. So without further ado, as the parler français might say, oh, by the way, the Olympics. Before we get to this, we're a topical show. We can talk about topical things. George, did you watch the Olympics? Did you see any breakdancing that you liked?
Uh, I did see some that I did like. I also saw some that I didn't.
Yeah, that poor lady from Australia can't live it down now. She'll never be able to live this down.
Well, apparently she's got a couple, social media deals out of it, so she's doing all right.
Yeah, actually, she's probably doing fine. I liked it, quite frankly. I'm like, yeah, it's free form. Go ahead, do little kangaroo hops. It's a little on the nose, given that she's from Australia. Like, you might as well have went up and said, "G'day, mate." Like what? That's a little stereotypical, I think. But okay, go for it. Anyway, all right. So let us go here. Let's get to the Google API Content Warehouse. That is what was leaked here, guys. There's 7,414 pages of it, and it goes on for some time of all these different API listings, which have like 5 to 50 different properties inside all of them. It goes on for like 2,000 of these, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just search for anchors. So anchors is an important one here. Anchors, model version anchors. Anchors, anchors source, anchors redundant, anchor info. This 1, 2, 3, 4 area here, there's only 4 listings for it. But you would not believe how important it is for rankings, obviously. But also it's quite surprising, George, and I'd love to hear your color commentary on this. I mean, anchors are such a huge ranking factor, but there's only 4 API listings in here for it. That seems a little incommensurate, does it not?
I mean, I don't think it's that complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about a single word, maybe three word phrase at most for the most case. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot
For
of
a
anchors
backlink, yeah.
a lot of anchors are just the URL. I mean, so I don't think it's that crazy for it to not have that many sections for anchors.
Yeah. And I guess I see what you're saying, and it makes sense to me on one end where, well, they've been perfecting this for 25 years, right? And so, many of our listeners weren't even alive when this started. Some of our listeners are 25 or under. So they've got it down to a fine art. So let's take a look here at model anchors, and let's see the different kind of ranking factors they've got going on here. Let's look at their attributes and see what we got. Okay, so the first one here is anchor. It is some kind of text string. The default is nil. So they will tell you if it's an anchor or not. They will analyze whether it's an anchor, which is fascinating. Here is another one. Homepage anchors dropped. So people have been speculating that you want homepage anchors or backlinks. They've also speculated that losing a homepage backlink is a bad thing. Well, here's some documentary evidence to suggest that that is indeed very true, that they're tracking specifically the total number of local homepage anchors that have been dropped by something in their system called the anchor accumulator. The anchor accumulator. And so again, I've mentioned before and I'll mention again, in this document, they have many deprecated fields, and it says deprecated. Deprecated means not using it anymore, right? And so it's still in the API documentation in case somebody like is trying to use it and it's not working, they could check to see why. Oh, it's deprecated, I can't use it. But all the ones that are not deprecated, you have to imagine that Google's probably using it for something, because all of these different attributes in these API documentation needs to be collected. The data needs to be collected. It needs to be indexed, crawled, processed, sourced, backed up in like 20 times, like in triplicate at the very least. That for the hundreds of trillions of pages a year that Google indexes, that adds up to a pretty penny of computing processing power. That adds up to a lot of money. That homepage anchors listing right here, I'll go back to it. This homepage anchors listing probably costs them over $1 million a year to run, at least. So if they, and for them, efficiency is the name of the game. They will literally store some of these numbers in 7-bit special computer science ways of knowing exactly how to squeeze all the redundant bits of information, because 8-bit information is not always perfectly, in terms of storage space on a physical drive. 8-bit information, I don't know if you folks know this, is not always the most efficient way of storing the information. You know, it's like pre-booking for a team at a hotel. You have 30 team members, you don't know how many are going, so you pre-book 30 rooms, but only, or like a wedding, but only 15, or like a conference, but only 15 people show up. You've wasted money and time on 15 that never got used. It's the exact same thing for storing information with 8 bits. If I recall correctly from my computer science days back in the 90s, which was quite some time ago. Back when I worked at the University of Winnipeg and I was building networks for them. And I was deep into this computer science shit. So anyway, they are storing information. These guys are PhDs. Some of them are double PhDs. They are the smartest programmers, the smartest engineers on the planet. They are squeezing every little last bit of information out of it. They're squeezing every little last bit of efficiency out of the system, including saving some of this information in 7 bits, for example. And Josh, why are you talking about this? Because that's another piece of evidence to suggest to me, the SEO scientist and detective, that if I see a attribute that is here that makes sense to me, it would be a ranking factor. Other people in the industry say it's a ranking factor and have for decades, for this one for sure, and it's not been deprecated. It doesn't guarantee it's a ranking factor by any stretch, but I'm willing to lean on the 51%, 52%, even 55% sure this is probably a ranking factor. So I could test it, and you will know for sure on many of these things when you join SEO University. So make sure to email me to join SEO University. However, I can for free tell you here on the show that I wouldn't be losing any homepage anchors. Let me put it that way. So if you got some homepage anchors, especially if they are seed sites, if you know what that means, you definitely join SEO University to find out what that means. You definitely do not want to be losing those backlinks. George, what do you think? Do you think this is possibly a ranking factor?
I don't know if I can say anything, Josh. If I'm being honest with you, I mean, I know this is a public show.
Are you being modest, or are you being sombrero?
Oh no. I'm being protective.
That's what I thought. Okay, then enough said. We will just move right along.
To skip this whole section.
Yeah. This is making George nervous.
Eh,
He's like, dude, you're giving away some of these secrets here.
no,
Well,
no,
don't worry.
you're not giving away anything. The smart person will already, should already have this, honestly, right?
True.
But but for me to comment on it would be to confirm or deny something.
Indeed. Indeed. And so he's pleading the fifth, folks. He's pleading the fifth. He can neither confirm nor deny. Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is a really good candidate for being a ranking factor. Index tier. Now, here's one that's super interesting. Index tier. It's an integer, which means a whole number with no decimal points. It starts with nothing. So your site or your page would start with nothing. And this is the index tier from which the anchors were extracted. Note that this is only valid in the anchor record written by link extractor, another like anchor accumulator, another sub routine they have running. The value can be one of the enum values defined in segment indexer types. So seg indexer, they've talked about in various other places in this documentation. I am not a computer scientist. I am not a high-level programmer. I have been doing SEO for as long as Google's been around. So this is really important, whatever this is. Now, in the industry, people have been speculating that Google has different tiers of indexation. George has got a smile on his face.
So I'm going to be honest with you. My wife said, "Hey, I need you to open something." I was like, "I'm live. It's like, but I need you to open something." So I'm opening a jar of
Jalapenos.
pickled jalapenos.
Woohoo! Well, fantastic.
Gonna have a good lunch.
My wife likes those too. Hello, Mrs. George. How you doing? Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Do whatever you need to do, dude. Like open up a jar of pickled jalapenos. Whatever you got to do, man. It's fine. As long as there's no nudity on the show, because then
No.
I'd have to
Just
I'd have to edit
jalapenos.
that out. Just the jalapenos, folks. You know, he's not the French pole vaulter. He's not doing any pole vaulting here today.
No,
Okay.
no. Everything is qualified here. No disqualifications.
No disqualifications. Okay. So index tier. So people in the SEO industry have been speculating for years that there's tiered indexes. Now they mostly talked about this for crawling and ranking, like you don't want to get in the supplemental index, whatever the supplemental index is. And quite frankly, I have to admit, I've found some documentation here in the leaked API docs that kind of supports and talks about the segmentation of index tiers that Google might do. And so again, this is another kind of indication pointing us in the direction of theorizing that there are tiered information. And I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? There are tiered information and there's different tiers of indexation kind of for spam content. We already know this already. They already de-index spam, but they know about it. They just don't show it. So they do have index tiers. But now it looks like either that's totally based on your anchor tag stuff, because this is in the anchor tag section, and or they also have index tiers for your anchors. So we're going to find some more information about this lower below, but it's very interesting to think. Okay, well, and I guess kind of a lot of people know this already or think this way is not every link is created equal. So the question is, how do you get in the good index tier? How do you get good index tiered links? I think, again, it's going to have something to do with this seed technology that I've been mentioning, aka the NS or the nearest seed.
I want to point out a entity in that the link extractor.
Yes.
is a fun entity to mention. Not, I mean, just say highlight link extractor. That's a fun one.
Yes. Google extracting links from pages. Yes, exactly.
But they're literally calling it a thing. Like it is a thing. It's like I said, it's a single title thing. It's like it's like anchor accumulator, right? It's the link extractor. Like there is something that is going out there that has a function, a entity that has a function called the link extractor that is using it.
Yes, and it works separately.
Beware of the boogeyman, i.e. the link extractor.
Yeah, it is part of their segment indexation, their crawling and indexing process, but it is a different subroutine, right? And it works on its own. So that can start again. I mean, there can be some bombshells in here that one single piece of information will explode your mind, and it will change your SEO game, which is great. Why we're looking at this. But a lot of it is just little bits of information that when you start to stack them together, however, you start to get a much different picture. The difference in degree becomes a difference in kind as to what Google is doing and how they're doing it. Like, for example, this next one as well. This one is local anchors dropped. It's a string. The total number of local non-homepage anchors dropped in anchor accumulator. So again, the anchor accumulator is now, you might think, oh, this is for local rankings. The answer is no. No. Google's terminology is not our terminology. We think of it as local SEO. That has nothing, that's not a term that Google uses, right? For local here, what they mean, and I've seen it like 100 times in these thousands of pages of the leaked API documentation while reading through it, local means their local host, the local host. So what's the host? You know, xyz.whatever.com, whatever, that's the host, local to that. And whatever subdomain is in there or wherever domain is in there. So that's what they mean by local. So for this particular one here that the anchor accumulator does, because anchor accumulator did homepage anchors dropped, it also does local anchors dropped. And it's also done by the anchor accumulator. So not only do they track whether homepage anchors, this is another important underline to appreciate and predict and assume and theorize that homepage anchors are very, very important. And prominence is also very important. We know that also as well by going through the per doc data information. So prominent homepage anchors always have been very important. And we have the documentary evidence to prove it here. And this is another piece of evidence suggesting that it's very important, because not only are they tracking your homepage anchors, they're looking at your non-homepage anchors on that local host that have been dropped. So if you're losing anchor tags, if you're losing backlinks, that is a major ranking factor. And so some of the white hats who've been saying, hey guys, that's a major ranking factor, you need to check your backlinks to see if you've lost a bunch of backlinks. You can lose them anytime, especially homepage anchors that you may have had. They're super important. That can greatly affect your rankings and would be a good exercise to do probably on a semi-annual basis. Maybe even a biannual basis, like every 6 months or so. If you can afford the expensive link tools you'd need to do this, or if you've purchased some homepage anchors, heaven forbid. I do not recommend you do this. We're a completely white hat show. However, academically speaking, hypothetically, if some of you have gone and bought a homepage anchor tag backlinks, you might want to check if they've suddenly been dropped, especially if you're paying for them, because they can make a big, huge honking difference. And quite frankly, where on the homepage they are would make as much as a 50% to 100% difference as to the link juice that you would get from it. And you can learn that information when you join SEO University of where your links should be located on the page. It makes a huge difference, a huge difference.
Yeah,
but also,
I was going to say on the note of the anchors being dropped and the not doing certain transactions to get said anchors in the first place.
mhm,
We're probably going to get to it eventually, but think not all backlinks are created equal. And one beautiful idea of them not being created equal is that you can create a user-based blog site or user-based, hey, build your own web page website. Like a single person can do that, right? And you can go there and you can make your own web page or website, and then put your link on there, and you're like, yay, right? I have a backlink now. That domain probably is not worth anything in the sense of authority, or does Google like it? They don't probably know about it. It's up to you to even get the thing indexed. It's up to you to have the content on there be worth anything. And then everything else that's on there. And then the biggest thing that I'm trying to get at is that they're fly by night.
yeah.
So if those people decide, you know what, this whole creating a website, for user website business is not worth it, I'm just going to delete everything. Who cares, right? It was free for them, so what do I care? Delete it, and guess what? Now you have a dropped anchor.
Yes, yes, indeed.
I'm hinting at the mass linker people.
Yes, hint, cough, SE nuke, cough, GSA, cough. Yeah, those kinds of things that we wouldn't recommend you do. Not live here on the show. Yeah. So again, we have index tiers. We're opening up a Pandora's box of incredible information that was rumor before, but this is not rumor. This is their leaked document information. So this is a much more trustworthy thing to be looking at here. So we got homepage anchors, we have index tieration, we have local anchors dropped, and also right underneath it in the anchor accumulator. Boy, this anchor accumulator is one busy little subroutine. We've got non-local anchors dropped. So anchors that are not in the local host. So wait a minute. Now we get a little bit more information of what this could be. This might not be external links. These ones here, the homepage anchors dropped, local anchors dropped, non-local anchors dropped, because that would be a non-local anchor. Quite frankly, these are internal link signals. That's what these are. Because if you have non-local anchors dropped, then that's important. Now we know, and I'm not saying that homepage anchors for backlinks, external backlinks is not important. That's not what I'm saying. They very well could be. But this right here is for internal linking. So this also tells you that this applies to internal links as well. The anchor accumulator is looking on your internal local host and saying, okay, how many, and this is not a subdomain either, right? Subdomain would be non-local. Local would be, well, actually no, a local host would include whatever.com, whatever is on the second whatever, blog.whatever.com, products.whatever.com. Those are all local to the host because they're on whatever.com. So these homepage anchors are obviously could very well be for your homepage because they're done with anchor accumulator. The local anchors dropped is for your local anchors on your site. So again, very important information in your search console to look for. Very important information for your ranking factors. By all means, I do a little bit of internal linking in my free on-page course. Make sure you go to SEOcopilotai.com and sign up under resources for my free on-page course at the end of the week. But I definitely only go to it. I just dip your toes into it just slightly to tell you like the kind of site structure that I would be building with AI, quite frankly. But otherwise, which is going to save you 99% time and 99% money, which is a good thing. That's the only way to get ahead in SEO these days. So, but otherwise, join SEO University and we could tell you a lot more about the internal linking you need to do. But it's very important. It's paying attention to how many anchors are being dropped on your local host and your non-local host as well. Now, the next one here is a mind-blowing one. Redundant anchors dropped. The anchors dropped fields below are not populated by Alexandria, which uses C-doc anchor stats instead. The total number of redundant anchors dropped in link extractor. So again, this is link extractor. I've clicked something here. Now the PDF is not responding. It's too big. It's killing my memory. This API, this PDF is too huge. Come on, Adobe. I don't care. I'm not trying to make a comment. I'm not doing anything. Stop trying to do stuff. So this is a fascinating thing. So first off, obviously, some anchor tags are considered to be redundant. And it's some string. It's not a number, which is interesting. It says the anchors dropped fields below are not populated by Alexandria, which uses CDOC anchor stats instead. Now, so obviously this is some kind of anchor statistics. Alexandria is a system that they've used many times. I have a quick kind of, no, that's the wrong thing. That's the wrong file. I have a quick, Alexandria is like one of these things. They have Twiddler, they have KNX, they have knowledge graph indexing, I believe this is, biasing data, they have Muppet, Mustang, Terra Google, which I think for maps. I think this is what they call local. They have unicorn users, they have a CRAPS traffic system, they have golden documents, they have premium documents. And another one of these things, they have nearest, they have site NSR. I just figured out what this meant yesterday. It's a site rank. They do have a site rank. I don't have Alexandria listed here, I don't think. But Alexandria is another one of those systems that they have that they use. And I kind of get the joking kind of tongue-in-cheek naming structures that the Google engineers tend to use. Of course, I think they're referring to the great library of Alexandria, I think is what they're referring to here. And that seems to be the great library of like a Dewey Decimal System of all the anchor tags. I think Alexandria is kind of their database storage system for the anchor tags. But they're saying this particular field does not come from their main system for some reason. It again is coming from link extractor. So they're doing different levels of analysis. Link extractor is kind of like a soft look. It's like, okay, we've extracted these links, we've put them in for crawling, and then they will get into the Alexandria system. And engineers at Google can use these different things, redundant, anchors dropped. But the most important thing to think is that the link extractor itself is making a determination as to what is a redundant anchor tag. So, I mean, we already kind of knew that they're ignoring some links, or we thought that they were. Well, again, here's some documentary evidence that, yep, there's some anchor tags that they find redundant. Now, why do they find it redundant? Who knows? But the redundant info is right here in anchor's redundant anchor info. It is some kind of text string or an object again. So this is separate also from supplemental anchors dropped. The total number of supplemental anchors dropped in anchor accumulator. It also says it's deprecated. So anchor accumulator doesn't do this anymore. It's deprecated. So as I said, I promised there are various programmatic programs and subroutines in Google which they have updated and they do deprecate it. And so if they haven't deprecated these ones up here, you can probably lean on the side that they're doing something there, and you need to think, okay, well, what could that mean? What would make an anchor tag redundant? Again, we know exactly, you could join SE University. What would make an anchor tag supplemental? Again, we have very good ideas in SE University. When you join, you'll find out. Now, what other things, but it's quite amazing to see the depth they go to, and it's eye-opening to see and very instructive to see the different ways they're tracking links, the different levels and tiers they're using to track links, and the different ways they're categorizing links is again really, really important. Okay.
Also, I want to mention real quick that the default, again, on one of these things where the default is nil, which tells me that it's not necessary. It's not a 0, it's just nil. So that means that you can rank a site without backlinks.
Yep. Yeah, that's important to mention as well. Not a lot of these are an integer, right? Only some are an integer. String. This one is an integer, but that's just to label the index tier. It very well could be a label. A number is just easier, right? String, string, string. What is a string? That's a sentence. A string is an alphanumeric sentence, right? We got an object here, string. So that, even knowing whether it's an integer, Boolean, which is a true or false, an on or off, true or false, is Boolean. I don't think there's a superposition state for Boolean, other than it would be nil. That would be a superposition state. Don't know what it is. String is some kind of alphanumeric. So that's a really good point, George, to note that all the values of these are nil to begin off with, meaning there's no value in there. It's an empty value. And that tells us that, again, you might not need any of these signals. And although linking is a huge signal, I also want to qualify this and put this in the right context. Google has fully admitted in the last few years that links are not the most important ranking factor. They're not even the top 3 anymore. Although having the 4th top ranking factor would still help you rank quite a bit if you squeeze juice out of it. And in some niches, unless you're doing a really good job in SEO Copilot and you are finding the best niches to rank for, that are the easiest to rank for, that also have the highest traffic and will make you the most money, I highly recommend you use keyword discovery in SEO Copilot. If you take nothing else from this entire show or anything I've ever said ever, use keyword discovery in SEO Copilot. It saves 75% of SEO campaigns right out of the gate by finding you the easiest searches to rank for, that you never would have dreamed of trying to rank for, that no one else dreamed of trying to rank for. So it's super easy to rank for it. And it also makes you a lot of money and gets you a whole high amount of traffic. However, if you're not using that, or whether you're using that or not, you're going to have to throw in links on top of that, right? As George mentioned a few weeks or maybe months ago, which is a very valid point, the better your on-page is, and also including the entire on-page process, choosing the right searches to rank for to begin with, using AI to analyze your competitors and rebuild models to get the best ranking factors and the proper entities, using AI to build the content fast, quickly, factually, and at a human level of quality, and then building the biggest sites possible. That's in a nutshell what I teach you to do on Fridays. By all means, join the free Friday course at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And doing that as well as possible will mean you'll squeeze as much juice out of that as possible, and you will need to spend as little money and risk in off-page factors as possible. But if you're really going for the money niches, that typically the logic of competition means, unless it's a very, very new niche, like crypto is still kind of open for some things, AI stuff is open for a lot of things. But the logic of competition will shore those up within a short amount of time anyway. But doing the best on page possible means you can skimp on off page in terms of quality and price to some degree. It's a relative.
I'll push back on a little bit of the new stuff.
Sure.
The newer stuff that's super duper trendy, I feel that you're going to have a harder time not having backlinks.
Yeah.
Like you can have, like at that point, you can have a perfect content, but there's so like, again, depending on which YouTuber, Twitter person, TikTok person decided to take on that trend, they might have, tens of thousands of legit strong backlinks, and you can't compete with that even with a perfect content.
Yeah, that's true. Not always. You're going to be competing on 300 different searches if you're building 5 pages a day, 25 pages a week, 100 pages a month, 2 or 3 months. You're building 100 pages a month, right? Is what I suggest people do to compete and be competitive and on page. Content velocity is also a ranking factor that we found in the leaked documentation as well. Just throwing that out there. So again, to learn how to do all this, join on Friday. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, George, you're entirely correct. There's going to be some niches where you're going to need links. There's also some algorithms we found in the leaked API documentation that because it's new and hot in news, you're going to need links because you need to be close to the nearest seed, the seed information of what this is, the trusted authoritative source. You need to be closer to what that is. Excuse me as well. In SEO University, not everyone uses this because not everyone is in the is in kind of rank and rent niches, or not everyone is in the affiliate niches. But we do have trend analysis. We do have trend databases where we can look at all the stuff that is making money, that is huge, it's up and coming. And I guarantee you, in some of these niches you see here, which we're just gotten through B and C now, we're still going and going and going. I guarantee you there's a lot of money in these niches, and I guarantee you that not everyone knows about this, and not everyone has been ready to make money in these things, like Girlfriend GPT, for example, or Inflow ADHD. There's a bunch of these that Leonardo AI. There's a bunch of these that you could very well make a lot of money by rank and rent, by ranking pages, then renting them out to people who want to make money, get monthly income from that, from affiliate niches. And especially like here in beauty and health and wellness, for example, these are all affiliate niches. Every single one of these that is brand new, and some of them are just taking off now. There's some affiliate company that will pay you commissions for this today. So if you want to make money and work from home, here is some great ways to do so that SEO University can guide you and has access to, and completely get you from spot zero to spot to making money and working from home and being happy and financially successful. Electrolyte gummies, for example, what a great, it's grown 8,700%. What a great niche for people to buy electrolyte gummies to get their electrolytes up, and either rank and rent for this, sell a digital real estate, sell your site on Flippa for this, build it up, rank it, sell it, move on, and or affiliate, or all of the above, quite frankly. All of those
I want to
things
mention
are
with
really,
the
really good.
affiliate side, mention with the affiliate side of things, you know, you saw some of those were brand names.
Hmm.
And a lot of times with affiliates, what they'll do is say, yeah, sure, you can sell my product, but you can't, but you know, for any PPC, you can't use my you know, my branding,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And guess what we say? Fine, we're not using PPC,
yeah, yeah.
right?
We'll rank for it
Yeah,
instead.
we're ranked for it anyway. Like we're still gonna rank for it. We don't care. And that's the
Yeah,
beauty of this is that even though you know that's where we're affiliate or the affiliate management or people providing affiliate opportunities to get you know sort of get beat up on. It's like, oh well, I can't even. How am I supposed to do this without PPC? Well, SEO.
of course. Yeah, and it's kind of a sad state of affairs that people think that SEO is dying. It's not. And I think actually that's false. I mean, I just showed this the other day. Let's look at Google Trends. People say SEO is dying. I'm like, no, it's not. It's actually never been bigger. Let's do search engine optimization as a topic. Let's go worldwide. Let's go past 5 years. Actually, it's growing here a little bit. You see, it's going up. Sure, it's not what it was here in the 22, but it seems to be going up. If I do SEO courses, search engine optimize, no, I don't want to do the book. SEO courses, we'll do.
Definitely doesn't look like it's trending down.
You can't even tell based on this is too much. Remove it. SEO courses has been going up. Actually, you notice it's going up now. More people want to learn it, and also AI for SEO is also growing as well. And now it's reached SEO courses.
I blame
This
that
is
on you. So I blame that on you.
Yes, quite frankly. Well, I saw this coming. I saw this coming 2-3 years ago, and I'm like, AI for SEO and using AI for SEO is going to surpass SEO courses, and it's going to surpass SEO period. And so SEO courses are still important. There's still a lot of people who need them and are looking for them. And we, of course, we provide it. Email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com for a huge discount for SEO Copilot AI customers. And also, I've got discounts if you're not. Email me anyway. You need to join SEO University. When you join SEO University, you're going to be in the knowledge flow to make tons of money and be successful at SEO, like George and I are. But I also noticed that AI for SEO, DIY AI for SEO is going to get more and more important as well, which is why I partnered with my co-founder, and we built SEO Copilot, and we're continuing to make it the best SEO tool on the planet using the top SEO, the top AI technology. He said, and then he took a sip of his Coca-Cola. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more. Let's see what other little secrets in the last few minutes here we can dig out of anchor text here. So here's a very interesting one, target document ID. So it may be implicit. So the target document ID, what is the target of the anchor tag? They translate it here to some kind of identification. I don't know if this is their internal identification, but they are tracking the target of the document and the target site. It's the host level site chunking. So again, this is where they've said in the past, you know, if you are on a host, you know, like WordPress.com or I don't know, Tumblr.com, that tends to be, and that's where your backlinks are or where you are, and that tends to be very, very spammy. And they can do site chunking and say everything from WordPress or everything from Tumblr, for example, happens to be spam, and then you get hits from that. So that can happen. That can happen because you're served there, or that could be happen because you're getting links from there. People have been warned about that from Google, and now we find the documented evidence that this is the case. So that's fascinating. So this is the document ID in their internal in their system. Notice down here, last one for anchors, although they go on with more anchor tag stuff that we would talk about on future shows here, like creation date. Ooh, anchor is the more important one, which we'll go through maybe sometime in the future if you guys want that. If you guys want that, put it in the chat, put it in the description. Let me know what you want to see for these shows. I'd be happy to help you guys out. But target URL. This is produced during link extraction, but not written out in the link logs in order to save space. So they have the target URL, which is different than the document ID, which is their internal documentation. So some very interesting, fascinating ways to actually peer into how Google is actually doing it. We've had all these rumors, we've had all these theories in SEO for decades, but to actually be able to peel off the face of nature and look at the face of God, so to speak, of how the ranking factors actually work is very, very interesting. And so, I would keep with the API documentation if you have time to look at it. If you don't, watch the show. Like I said, it's 7,000 pages. It's quite a lot to read. I'll keep looking through it, and also I've been going through it in much more detail with many more ranking factors in SEO University. George, did you have any thoughts about that? Did anything strike you, or do you have any color commentary on that?
I mean, nothing was really, uber surprising or anything, but in some of the stuff, it's like, there's some little quote unquote trade secrets that's like, okay, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense with
Yes.
that.
Yeah, the homepage anchors.
That
Yeah.
homepage anchors, local anchors, non-local. The non-local anchors was kind of interesting to me. That's even sort of in there, and then it's also the idea of defining what non-local anchors are anyway.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, in something that we didn't see in there, and maybe it's in a different section, but we saw a lot of dropped.
Yes.
We didn't see gain. We didn't see necessarily strength so much.
Yeah.
We saw, hey, is this person getting dropped?
Yeah.
Again, the value is nil. The default value is nil until it's something.
Yeah.
Now, an integer, well, these are strings, so strings are interesting. Strings could be kind of anything.
Yep.
Right. So it could be a negative number, and you can say, hey, well, guess what? You're losing more per this period, right? In this 1 month, 3 month period, you lost more than you gained. We don't like you anymore. You gained more, so you have a positive string.
Mm-hmm.
It's all spin, 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 spin.
Yeah.
Test, 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 test.
Test, test. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Test, 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 as they said. Was it the whip and the nanny, I believe? Yes. So, yeah, I mean, and people in SEO have been speculating about these being factors for years. And so, again, it's amazing to be able to see the documentation evidence. What are the index tiers? Looking at your competitors' backlinks and thinking of the concept of index tiers and thinking, okay, I can see the kind of classifications. I can see these are really good links. These ones are not so good. These ones are terrible. Okay, it's not about quantity. It's about quality, right? It's about figuring out definitely what the index tiers are that you want to be using. And again, the internal homepage links, the external homepage links, all these kinds of things, and how many links you're dropping, paying very close attention to that could end up being an important thing. So definitely something that people out there want to be watching out for, and people out there might want to dive into and do a bit more research on.
Also want to mention real quick on the tier side, it does give value, not a lot, but does give some value to SEMrush, Ahrefs, Moz, and their backlink score or their scoring.
Yes.
Right now, that could all be gained. You can go to Fiverr and get your DA up.
Yep.
So it begs the question, right? You can.
Sorry, George. What was that you said? You get your what up?
Anyway, so what you need to figure out is what are the things that raise, say for DA, what are the things that raise the DA, right? DA or PA, that
yes.
PA, DA, I guess it's the same thing.
It could be. It could be.
What raises that, but can't be gained. Yeah. And the thing that can't be gained that raises that's probably the thing that you want to be more focused on, right? Because if it can be gamed, then Google's probably going to, dismiss and be like, well, anyone can do this. Anyone's paying a couple dollars for this, and we're not going to put any value in it. But if it's something that is truly organic, truly of some value, i.e., again, can't be done easily, then we'll look at that for some sort of tiering. But again, test,
Yeah.
test, test.
Yes, yes. And I couldn't agree more. And of course, as we found in SU University, uh, um, it all has to do with the authority of the authoritativeness of the sources. But the question is, and everyone knows this, but the question is, what exactly makes it authoritative? We've found some interesting documentary evidence and also some very interesting single variable testing that proves what actually makes backlink sources authoritative. And it's very specific and it's not what you would imagine. So if people, again, are not having success with that, all I can recommend is email me, join SU University, and I think you're going to be amazed at actually what makes a seed site a seed site. It's not just because humans think it is. That's how Ahrefs chose it. That's how SEMrush chose it. Humans just at their companies thought, well, I guess this should be a seed site. They don't even know what that means, right? So those tools again are not fully useful, but things that we're using in SU University are definitely going to work much, much better. Okay, so with that, let's go for our final thoughts with our friendly, lovable Chad. Let's see what Chad has to say, and I'll give him a recap, and then we'll see what the final word there is. Ha ha ha, Chad, you're so funny. Anyway, so we did some leaks here at the end of the show. We found that they're using tiered indexes for links. We found that there's a homepage dropped score. There is a local links dropped score for local host links dropped, and also a non-local links dropped. They seem to be very interested in how many anchor tags or links you're losing, both for internal links and external links, and they seem to be making tiers of these links. Give us your general thoughts on this, whether you think it's true or false that they're doing this, and if anybody wishes to improve their SEO game regarding this. And then give us your final thoughts, what you think of overall. So let's see here what Chad has to say. Chad is such a great guy. There he is.
Joy of peeling back the layers of Google's ever so secret ranking factors.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of tiered indexes for links and dropped scores doesn't surprise me. It's just another way for them to keep everyone on their toes, chasing after the latest SEO fad. Of course, they're tracking how many links you're losing, both internal and external. It's their way of measuring your relevance, or lack thereof. If someone wants to improve their SEO game, they should probably focus on not losing links in the first place, which is something I'd think would be obvious.
Probably.
But hey, if you need to be told that, maybe SEO isn't your game after all. Final thoughts? Sure, why not? This whole SEO obsession is like a dog chasing its tail. Endless, pointless, and mostly for your own amusement. But keep at it, Josh. I'm sure one day you'll catch that tail.
Okay.
And you know what? I hate you.
Okay, all right, fantastic.
Wow.
I'm glad Chad had that color commentary. We're chasing tail. We're chasing tail out here. We're trying to raise our DA. All right. So thanks very much, everyone, for listening and watching. This has been the Free SEO Show. Again, please make sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Bring your friends on here if they need any SEO advice. And thank you very much for listening and watching. And as I said, I do another course on Friday, the free on-page course. Make sure to go to SEOcopilot.ai.com and sign up for that under resources. And otherwise, George, let us know where we can contact you and all your good stuff.
Yeah, so I peruse around the internet. Most of the time I'm in Josh's group, but you can find me otherwise at georgej@georgedigital.net. I love local. I love the darker hats kind of stuff. So, if you need help with that, want to know more about that, let me know. I won't tell Google, I promise.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks very much. Well, no, because someone will leak it. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, folks, for listening and watching. And thank you, George, for being on the show. And we'll see you guys all next time.